Hello, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. All right, if you have not met me before, I am Word Fangirl. My pronouns are she, they. I am a bi variety Lebanese American streamer who does all the things and all the places. And you were on my channel. I'm so sorry for your loss. So, what's happening here? Well, Critical Mrs. is amazing and got a bunch of Arabic TTRPG streamers together. And we've been going through it because, Israel's committing a fucking genocide in Palestine. And that's just a time. For me, it's a special time because my tax dollars are paying for it. So that's fun. And one day, in all of my rage about all of this and people like me and unlike me being murdered, I asked this lovely group of people to play TTRPGs. So we are fundraising for Doctors Without Borders today. You can do !donate throughout the game or charity to get the donation link. We have what I will call a conservative first goal. And usually when anyone who's been here before knows when I charity stream, that I am like, every dollar counts. I want to blow this shit out of the water. So that's where our expectations are because shit's fucked up and we need to do something about it. Okay, thanks. So you can do that. If you can't donate, please share the link. That is also immensely helpful. I know everyone is not in the same financial space and that's okay. But that also makes a difference. And then I'm going to hand it over to Caito, who's going to run this beautiful game for us. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Caito. My pronouns are they, them, and I will be the keeper of the story this evening. I'm really excited to be here with this lovely, beautiful group of Arab storytellers here to tell a gothic horror story. We will be playing Monster of the Week. For anyone who doesn't know that, it's a very low crunch, powered by the apocalypse system. Our lovely hunters, as they are called here, have bandied together as they are part of a secret society outside of an unnamed, maybe European, probably not, city in possibly Victorian, maybe, I don't know, Negaverse alternative world scape. But the tone that we are setting tonight is one of gothic horror. These supernatural lovelies have all given me their lines and veils in advance, so we have gone over those together. We have a system in place for anything that should come up that sets our teeth on edge in exactly the wrong ways. So we're keeping ourselves safe. We encourage you all to keep yourselves safe, and at any point things come up for you, take a break, step away, do what you need to do. Themes that will come up in this will be light gore and some violence. There is a bit of dabbling in hospitals, sort of turn of the century hospitals, and kind of medical things, as well as anything having to do with the supernatural. Half the players at the table have something supernatural about them, so brace yourself for that. Otherwise, we are going to tell a lovely horror story here tonight. A big thank you to every single player here at the table. Huge thank you to Critical Mrs. for putting us all together in a room. A big thank you to Folk and Myth, the company for which I work, and to TheBleakseason, our beautiful producer this evening, who is behind the camera, making us all look and sound good. I vote, now that that's all out of the way, that we get in to tonight's episode known as The Blackmire Affair. This collection of hunters have all been part of a secret society here in this metropolitan area, known as the Society of Weird, or just simply known as the Society. Some of you have come from different walks of life, maybe longtime hunters in different iterations, sort of guns for hire. Some of you may have been touched by the supernatural or the arcane or the weird and decided to devote yourselves to the cause. Now, hunter does not simply imply track it down and kill it outright. It involves a bit of tact, investigation, thoughtfulness. You all find yourselves at the Society House, going about your days. Perhaps some of you are doing research in the library, having a spot of tea, a sip of brandy in the lounge, when you all receive a letter. You notice the seal on it is it says DM in the very kind of scrawling script on it. And when it's delivered to you, you open it, you all gather together in this room. Some of you friends, some of you family, some of you mere acquaintances, some of you friendly rivals. And you open up the letter and discover the contents. Inside, a letter from one Dr. Gertrude Blackmire. She says to you, I am writing to inform you of a certain incident that has occurred at the Dioscuri Manor, impacting both patients and physicians alike. Recently, I began administering a serum of my own design to the tuberculosis patients here at the sanitarium to great effect. However, after a time, patients began exhibiting aggressive behavior, resulting in the death of one patient. I believe this to be straying away from the arena of medicine and venturing into the arcane. I have my suspicions about what might be occurring, that someone is tampering with my serum, but need your professional insight. Kindly please join me at the Dioscuri Manor as quickly as possible. Yours most sincerely, Dr. Gertrude Blackmire. You all have received this letter. You all have a stretch of time when we get into the part where we will be traveling to the manor, wherein you will give us an example of what sort of preparations you will have made for this journey. But meanwhile, you all agree to take this case on. It piques your interest. You're wondering what may be going on here at the Dioscuri Manor. And you embark on your journey. I'm going to hand it over to each of you individually to give me a description of your character and what we might know about them, as well as what they might have done in preparation for this event. I will start with Celine, or C.
Darn, I was hoping you wouldn't say that. I was like, what would I have done? So Celine is very prim and proper looking. She is in this very black but buttoned dress and with blonde hair up in a bun. Mostly look kind of, if you saw them, they would unnerve you a little bit. But you can't pinpoint what. Occasionally their eyes will flicker a little bit gold. And I would say that in prep for all of this, they got their favorite pair of brass knuckles ready and is just kind of shining them up a little bit on the way.
Excellent. Is there anything that you do that you might research, that you might look into, or is it more so a focus on prepping your materials, as it were?
I would say prepping the materials.
Excellent. We love it. Next, we pan over to Agent B.
C, B. I wonder who you're going to do next. Anyway, so Agent B is the professional playbook. So they have a perfectly tailored suit with a Victorian England style flak jacket underneath. Very always face of determination, long raven hair to kind of half obscures their face most of the time. A pair of spectacles that they don't need just to make people think they're weaker than they actually are. As far as preparation, I think it would mostly just be clean your guns, make sure your gear's in check, and if possible, try and pick up some local newspapers for the area we will be going to.
Excellent. Special pause here. Thank you so much to Munchkin275, Turk, and Fluffy for your donations. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The camera pans over, and we see an older woman, perhaps the longest standing society member here, known as Mrs. Fletcher. Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about Mrs. Fletcher?
So, Mrs. Fletcher is a very old and frail woman. Exactly how old would be a bit too rude to ask. She's more of an heirloom than a member, but she's always been there. Um, she's got a bit of like a more petite and slender build. She has like very delicate features and very short white hair that's very neatly done. But her face is adorned with wrinkles. Um, she wears a very thick coat in a lovely little beige color. It's kind of grandmotherly like, and she has these little flats that she wears with very, very thick woolen socks. One thing you would notice about her is that she doesn't blink, and that's probably the only unsettling thing about her. But
Casually not blinking, very, very normal.
she doesn't have the time, you know? I think the preparations that she would do is less about her own preparations, but more nagging everybody else to make sure that they have a jacket, because I assume it's going to be nighttime and it's going to be cold. She has like a little handbag that has her gear, and we'll leave it at that. But aside from that, I think she would just be kind of waddling around and keeping everybody else in check. I don't know if they'd appreciate it, but she's gonna do it.
Excellent. We fade over to a person who's keeping to themselves, a little quiet, a little reserved, perhaps sitting in a large leather-backed armchair or perusing some books in the library. Netta, can you tell us about your character, Lexi?
With permission, of course, I'm going to pick him up and intro him in a slightly different scene.
Oh, please do. Yes.
Course, since I didn't go first, I got to think of something that I would consider fitting. So I'm playing the Hex playbook. My character is Alexi, and he, for the most part, pronouncing him, for the most part, would say every outward appearance is perfectly normal, except for perhaps like a slackness of the face that is trying to convey like a sense of calm, but is altogether very blank. And we probably find him like sitting near like what looks to be a cemetery during the day, like flat out at daybreak, and he is, from Gertrude's suggestion, wearing a coat revealing nothing, dressed in monochrome blacks, grays, dark gray, slacks, shoes, altogether not noble looking in the slightest, but how he prepares for this adventure, this journey, is unbeknownst to the mortal eye, or for undiscerning eyes, he can be seen corralling ghosts, and the ages vary. They do seem to come out of the ground, but they all wear his face, interestingly, and he is able to tap into them as little kids run between his legs, and as elderly versions of himself like tip the hat. And he is trying to get essentially a common lay of the land, because he's never been to this manor before. I'll just say that for certain. So he wants to make sure that everywhere where there's ears to listen and eyes to see, that he doesn't feel unprepared, despite everyone in this party perhaps coming into this a little unprepared.
Incredible. And finally, lastly, but certainly not leastly, the camera pans over to a man in modest dress and perhaps a little bit of a furrowed brow. Moon, will you tell us a little bit about dance?
Dance is a man in his early 30s. He's got a serious face, dresses casually but conservatively, often wears a beige Columbo-esque raincoat. Um, he probably getting ready. He'd probably be digging through his car, which is just a mess of clothing and fast food wrappers and such. He finds like kind of a silk bag and pulls out a large white feather and tucks it into his coat before he drives off to where he needs to be.
This group of hunters find themselves just outside of the Dioscuri Manor. We see Alexei kind of trailing off around the side, a small cemetery plot out there, standing, perhaps leaning against a gravestone. The four of you also stand outside this Victorian-style manor with large windows, and it seems like quiet. The grounds are well manicured and very beautiful, but there is an eerie energy here. There is a sense of, well, some of you may have experienced it and had some folks some family or friends in a place like this. A convalescence home isn't exactly the most joyful of places, but overall, you feel like maybe being on your guard is a good way to approach this. And you enter the manor, and you see that it's well appointed, warm, dark wood paneling on the walls and kind of carpet runners that go up the stairs. And you see descending the center staircase is a woman in her traditional doctor's robes. She's got a kind of a long white coat on, and she looks kind. Her eyes are soft. Her hair is pulled back into a bun, and you see Dr. Gertrude Blackmire before you. She descends the stairs and goes, "Oh, welcome. You're the society members, is that correct?"
Yes, that's correct. As Mrs. Fletcher, probably not at the front, but she's very happy to see some good manners.
Well, I am just delighted. My name is Dr. Blackmire. You could certainly call me Gertrude if you'd like. Thank you all for being here. I deeply appreciate the expediency with which you've arrived. Can I offer you something? It's been quite a journey. A cup of tea, perhaps a little something stronger.
Yes, please, and perhaps you could take my coat as well. She's already taking it off and holding it out.
But of course, and she takes it and kind of stiffly drapes it over her arm, and she calls out, "Nurse Carlisle." And rounding the corner, you see a young woman in a nurse's uniform. She looks a bit harassed. She looks a little bit frazzled. But you see her kind of emerge, and she goes, "Yes." And you see Dr. Carlisle go, or Dr. Blackmire say, "Would you mind? Please take their effects, and you can take them to my office. We'll be there shortly. Also, if you couldn't get us a spot of tea, perhaps some biscuits." And you see her nod curtly and take your coats, and she retreats back to the study. And Dr. Blackmire makes her way down the stairs and says, "Come, let me show you around," and takes you through the manor halls. You notice that they're cozy for the most part, and she, at one point, takes a key off of a key ring, a long kind of ornate iron-looking key, and she puts it into a lock in front of these massive doors and opens it out. And you see that there's this long hallway with various patient rooms along the sides here. As soon as you step into this ward, you get this feeling of maybe not necessarily fear, but dread. You're hearing bits and pieces of voices from the other sides. You peer through the windows and you see that patients are in there, some people tucked up to their chins under blankets. You're seeing nurses milling about, fluffing pillows, taking bedpans away. It seems as though Dr. Blackmire very much takes care of her patients and cares very much about her charges. And she keeps a watchful eye on them. She leads you down, and you're hearing bits of conversation. You're not hearing much, maybe a little bit of moaning or distress, discomfort, physical pain, things like that. And she says, I'm so sorry in advance to have to show you this, but, well, you seem made of strong stuff, so, all right. And you approach the end door of the hallway, and she unlocks it and opens it. And inside, you see the blankets pulled up over someone laying under them on a bed. You see nurses kind of milling about in there as well. We've yet to take him down to the morgue. I wanted you to have an opportunity to look at the body. I'll show you this first, and then we'll adjourn to the office, if you don't mind. I warn you, it's a bit bizarre. She reaches down and she pulls the blanket back, and you see the body of this man has been not quite crushed, but twisted, as if the spine itself has wrapped around, and directionally the face is not facing where it should. It's almost as if he's been crushed and rotated. And you look at it puzzled. There's no way a human person could have done this. What do you all do?
I want to take a closer look.
Sure.
Yeah, just like try and like look at for like marks of like claw marks or something that might key into a creature that I've experienced before in my 9 to 5.
Your 9 to 5, yes.
Monster hunting job.
Your monster hunting job, yes. Let me have you roll the first roll of the evening, investigate a mystery.
Yes.
So you're going to roll plus sharp.
Plus 1. Move this PlayStation controller out of my dice box. 7.
7. So you hold one, so you can ask one of the following questions. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can it hurt? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? What's being concealed here?
I think I'm going to go with what's being concealed here. I'm looking for like that kind of like sign of something that most eyes wouldn't see.
Excellent. You do notice upon closer examination, there is sort of this crusted over film on parts of the body. It almost looks like sort of the fluid that would come out of blisters that have burst. She says, rather a grisly sight, isn't it? Well,
Either some effect of a venom or just sheer force.
well, from what we've determined, it seems to be sheer force. Well,
Would I be able to see if there were any spirits nearby? Maybe the spirit of the dead person, preferably?
Yes. Now let's see here. Per your playbook of the spooky,
Mm-hmm.
do you
I
have
want to use the sight.
the sight? Excellent. So the description of the sight, you can see the invisible, especially spirits and magical influences. You may communicate, even make deals with spirits you see, and they give you opportunities to spot clues when you investigate a mystery. You notice that Mrs. Fletcher, her unblinking eyes, the most disconcerting thing. I love that you had described it as, it's not that bad. It's probably the only unsettling thing about her. The unsettling is she's kind of... You step out into the hall while everyone is sort of examining the body here, and you scan around. And as you do, you see the kind of ethereal figure of a man, probably mid to late 40s, thinning hair, and he's just kind of hovering, probably about 10 feet away from the door as he sways in space.
Hello, darling. You right?
Oh. Hello. Can you see me?
Well, yes, why wouldn't I?
It's just, I haven't been seen in quite some time. At this point, you see Alexi's head panning out of the doorframe.
Are you quite all right?
No, my dear, I think I might be dead, in fact.
What makes you think that?
Well, and he glances down, and you notice that his feet don't end in feet, they end in mist.
Oh,
Might be a giveaway.
perhaps an odd ailment, yes? Do you know how you died?
I don't recall. I just remember a crushing sensation and twisting. I felt like I'd been wrapped up by some sort of serpent and just wrenched. It was bloody disgusting, quite frankly.
Sounds uncomfortable, yes. Do you recall what happened before the strange sensation?
I was sleeping in my bed. You see, I was due to be discharged the week after. I was anticipating seeing my family.
Perhaps you should change your schedule then.
I imagine so. What are you doing here? And glances over at Alexi.
Miss Fletcher will probably look back as well.
Just, this seems like a mystery worth getting ahead of. He says, having probably over time strained his brain to get to the point where Gertrude is now with I guess both of us looking at the spirit. Would you perhaps like a memory refresher addressing the spirit, addressing the ghost?
Are you able to do that?
Just, I think, if you give me a time and place, a time or a place, his hands, like, they don't necessarily start to spark, but they start radiating heat as if he's trying to charge something. I would like to use magic, actually.
Sure.
If that's okay, to try
Absolutely.
for that effect. Which is something I will have to determine once I roll. So
Yes. So you're going to roll plus weird.
That's weird. Which I have a +2.
Are you using one of your rotes?
I don't.
It's all right.
I do that.
You're just going to use magic.
Yes, I'm just going to use magic as in the basic move.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. That is. I got an 8 on the dice.
An 8. Excellent. So. An 8 on the die. You know that this, based off of the information he has given you, that this is the room in which he died. His body's still being there. So, as your fingers sort of spark with this kinetic energy and your hands kind of glow a little bit, it does work, but it works imperfectly. And there will be an effect, and you will choose that effect, and I will tell you what the glitch of it is there under the use magic column.
Yes. So I would like to observe another place or time, and given that this is the place, I would like to perhaps just like rewind the clock a little bit, like finger on the cassette.
Yes, yes. When Alexei uses magic, what color do his eyes turn?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I did not expect that.
Aha.
Probably. Zing, you got me. His eyes normally are just like a very, not plain, but vibrant brown, and they go to black, as in, it looks like his pupils are dilated, but they're not.
Sure.
Like ink.
As this effect, and you see Mrs. Fletcher unfazed by this. You know, you've seen this before in the field. Alexei is no longer here. Alexei has traveled back in time. And as you travel back in time, you see the room. You see this man laid out in his bed. He's rolled over. He's asleep. He's tucked in there. You hear that the key turn in the door. A very subtle and a very quiet as the door is opened. You see a figure slide in, shrouded in black. Now, the trouble and the glitch of this is that you're having difficulty making out this form. It seems humanoid. It seems tall, probably 6.5, 7 feet, kind of big shouldered, boxy frame, but you're not seeing a face. It's just kind of this swirling miasma of blackish smoke. And you see the entity move in and make its way over to the bed where the man is laying. And you see almost tenderly an arm reach out and scoop him under his torso and then wrap around his waist. He doesn't stir as he kind of floppily slumps into the arm. And you hear him, as you're hearing cracking of bones, you hear him and turn and look and go, and you hear the snapping of the spinal column, and it snaps you back. Your eyes resume that honey brown, and you see Mrs. Fletcher looking at you.
Alexei needs to take a moment, his eyes are normal, and then he closes them and rubs them oh, that worked, unfortunately. And then he makes a motion, the heat is gone from his hands, but they're still warm, and he sort of places his hand on top of the shape of the hand of the body that we're all looking at. And he looks up to Gertrude with a sort of disappointed look in himself. He shakes his head. Somebody came in here, and I did not see what besides tall, imposing, shrouded in darkness, or maybe the memory was violent, scary, and someone with their bare hands did this. And Alexei's face is placid, but he looks a little pale from his normal brown, healthy skin, just a few shades lighter.
Sure. It takes a lot of effort to travel back. Tell me, what are Dance and Celine doing at this moment?
Is Mrs. Fletcher out in the hall or back in the room?
She's been out in the hall, unless... Yeah. Go ahead, Sarah.
I would have come back when Alexei came back, probably with a hand on their back. But she was in the hallway for most of that.
I would say for Cease, they are listening to this individual talk and getting as many details as possible, but also as she's talking, their hair is like slowly coming out like a strand and a strand and a strand. And then as Mrs. Fletcher walks in, they go next to her and are like, you know how I deal with people. Why did you leave me with people?
I didn't mean to leave you, darling. You could have followed. Come, your hair. And she's trying to like probably brush it and hide it behind your
They're
ear.
like,
Okay.
this one talks a lot. But they say it like quietly.
So, for clarification, the only people who could hear the spirit talking are Alexi and Mrs. Fletcher.
I mean the woman who runs the place.
Sure. Got it. I just wanted to, sorry, I misheard. That's my fault.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait.
You're supposed to listen, darling.
Oh, they talk so much.
Deep breath. And probably just tries to verbally get you to calm down.
Their eyes are just slightly flickering gold for a second, then returns, and they seem like they're attempting to listen to what's happening. But realistically, they have gotten no information from her the whole time. Like, not a word. It's like, wow, I could do some damage pretty quickly. And they just went off.
And you see Dr. Blackmire is kind of eyeing you sidelong and looks over at Dance and says, bit of a temper on that one, isn't there?
Oh, don't get her started. Don't get her started.
What you
I'm just
make
gonna
of
be
it?
looking over the body like I know what I'm doing, basically.
Sure. You too can investigate a mystery.
Yeah, like looking under its fingernails, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and roll me an investigate a mystery roll, if you would please.
Oh, okay. 7.
A 7. So you can ask one of the following questions. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here?
I guess what kind of creature do I think it is?
You've spent a lot of time in the field. You've interacted with a lot of different entities. You also understand that something like this requires an immense amount of brute strength. And as you had this conversation with Dr. Blackmire and glanced down at the body, you glance back up at Cease, knowing exactly what they are. And you glance back down at the body. It's entirely possible that a beast could have done this.
And can I work out if well, I don't know if this is too much or too soon, but can I work out if this seems to be something like, I don't know, done in anger?
Yeah, I would say an act of this caliber without it seeming entirely calculated, the fact that there was this much brute force, it does seem that there is an element of anger to it. And as you were discovering that, Mrs. Fletcher, you see the spirit standing before you and goes, I do hope you could figure this out. You see, I was supposed to return to my family and return to work. I work over in the docklands, on the shipyards.
We'll try and do that. It's why we are here.
Thank you.
I suggest you get used to your new arrangement, dear. As she basically says that out loud because she doesn't think to do it in her head, so everyone just sees Mrs. Fletcher talking to herself.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Grandma being grandma.
Grandma being grandma. So as you see Dr. Blackmire kind of stepping out and says, to my study, shall we? Cup of tea. Perhaps we could chat.
Very well.
Very well. And she leads you back down the corridor. And she nods to the nurses as she goes along. You see that same nurse, Nurse Carlisle, who has has a little bit more of a refined collar to her uniform. You get the sense that maybe she's the head nurse. You see her kind of passing by with fresh towels, and she's heading into various wards. She's got a mask across her face. She opens out through the ward. She turns around once you've all exited and locks it again with that key. And she says, "Come." And you make your way up the winding, dark oak wood staircase, and you enter the doctor's study. She says, "Please, by all means, have a seat." And as you find yourselves in this study with these high-backed chairs, leather couches, it's very warm in here. You see just rows and rows of books along the walls here. A well-kept but well-loved desk. You can tell that she is very dedicated to her work. She sits down behind it, and she sees all of you kind of taking your seats and says, "Well, I certainly will be as forthcoming as I can. You see, I had been working for quite some time on a sort of remedy, a serum to aid these poor people. Consumption is terrible, quite frankly. Rather vicious disease. And I had been doing some research and found that this treatment was quite effective. We had ran several tests, and things seemed to be going quite well, you see. And I had been, I had been noticing that some of the patients that had received this serum had been showing signs of aggression. And now, in my clinical research, I've done quite extensive trials, and I just don't see how that could be possible, that aggression would be the response. However, I must admit I have some concerns. You see, there is an attending physician here. His name is Dr. Arthur Rutherford. He, quite frankly, I don't trust him. You see, I had come to be the head of Dioscuri Manor several years ago. And prior to that, it was someone else who had appointed Dr. Rutherford. You see, I was not the one who was on the hiring committee. I had heard reports, and granted this is through the rumor mill, the grapevine, as it were, that Dr. Rutherford had been going into patients' rooms, the ones that had been administered my serum, and all I know is that he had gone in and emerged, and well, that's when the signs of aggression started to... I'm not sure. I seem to be... I'm operating under the belief that he has come up with his own sort of concoction, and I think he might be using it to test on our patients, which I find unethical and immoral. I don't know what this serum does, but the acts of aggression, well, that's why we've begun to lock the ward. Prior to that, it was simply for safety at nighttime, but we do it now 24 hours. Now, I've seen Dr. Rutherford out and about, but any attempts at confrontation or conversation have resulted in rapid dismissal. Even calling him into my office has resulted in him leaving. I'm not exactly sure where he goes, but I know that he spends an awful lot of time communicating with the nurses. I think he tries to find any way of covering his tracks that he possibly can. No. I'm concerned that perhaps he's using our patients as a means of testing this concoction, and I don't know. It's possible he's selling it? I'm not sure.
Is your distaste of Rutherford recent?
Well, I found his practices to be a bit unorthodox. He seems to be very aggressive with his trials. He offers therapies and treatments that just seem outrageous at times, but effective. So I kept him on staff. Now he's allowed to get away with it being a bit of a bad boy, as it were, but Now I think he's gone a bridge too far.
Is there anything in my current form that I can tell from her body language on how truthful she's being?
Ooh, let me have you also roll. And you're just doing it to observe?
Yes.
Sure. Let's have you
6.
a 6. Go ahead and mark an experience point on your character sheet because that is how you level up in Monster of the Week. You don't notice anything outright. She seems to be very forthcoming. She's giving you as much information as she can. She seems stressed about the situation, but you're not noticing anything truly outside of that.
And I'm gonna look at her and say, and is this the first
Was that sound meant to be the sound of a crunching spine?
Do you know what that sounds like?
No, I don't, in point of fact.
Oh, unfortunate. I mean, it is what it sounds like, but it's that.
I thought that was quite a good sound impression.
Thank you.
Well,
Trying
yes.
to communicate.
This is the first report I have heard of it. But do you read the papers at all?
No.
In point of fact, Hannah, your character, Agent B, your ears perk up at this.
Yeah.
You know, distinctly, having read this morning, that there have been reports of bodies of dockside workers from the docklands in the shipyards, found mutilated. Seen about 6 of them. And that was what the news reports were.
They're just gonna non-sequiturally say, so the same signs of pus on the dock workers?
Pus? Did you notice a pus? I didn't catch that at first. And instantly, you distinctly remember that there were no details about that in the journals, but you recall, upon investigating the body, that there is that kind of dried pus on there.
Are you not involved in the morgue work here?
No, we have people to help with that. Mainly it's the nurses. Nurse Carlisle, Jane, she is the one who heads most of that up. She's an incredibly hard worker and, quite frankly, deserves a pay rise.
Where would she be right now?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we passed her in the hallway. She's the one with the tight black bun and the collared coat. She's lovely. You'd likely find her at the nurse's station.
Was it
Sorry, you had
dock
some-
workers, you said?
Yes, dock workers specifically. Typically only found at night, is what I've heard.
Your patient was a dock worker.
Was he? I had
He
no
was.
idea. Oh. That's terrible. Do you think someone is targeting dock workers?
Perhaps.
Interesting. Well, at any rate, I can tell that you all are the ones meant for this job. If that is, you will take it.
Do you keep count or any sort of chronicling of people's occupations here, of your patients?
Once again, that would be on Jane. She's the one who chronicles everything. She'd be a great asset to you. I'm sure she would have information that I don't even know.
I see. Do you have extra sugar? This
Oh,
tea
yes.
is a bit bitter.
By all means, surely. And she stands up and she exits. I'll be right back. And you all have the room.
Cece's gonna lean over to
Perfect.
Lexi for a minute and be like, she's not really good at like peopling. She doesn't know a lot about her people.
Which is a shame, really. Even in this profession, having a good bedside manner is pretty, well, it's not as important as saving lives. I feel like they could use more people here.
You
Which
think she'd
isn't to
know the
say you're
basics.
correct.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
You think she'd know the basics of the information pipelines in here also. Like, sure, maybe not the details, but what is kept and not.
You know, as I was zoning in and out, because he kind of drones on, but like in the beginning, she was like, I care about people. And then she didn't know about people. And I'm not great at peopling. We know this, but it doesn't match.
Mrs. Fletcher will probably stand up and start just idly perusing the room. I don't think she's looking for anything in particular, but she knows that she's probably bought us a little bit of time, so you might as well snoop at something you're not really supposed to.
Sure. Let me have you, as our roles this evening so far. Let me have you investigate a mystery.
Okay. That is 10.
10. Excellent. You get 2 holds, so you can ask me 2 questions about the room.
The first thing is because it's a library. Not my question, but it's a library.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's her private study. There are medical books along the walls. You also would know that there are probably patient files in here under lock and key. But yeah, go ahead. You can ask me the 2 questions there.
My 2 questions would be: is there a place where there, like, could I find an assortment of patient files, and if I can I find whatever I need to open said patient files?
In point of fact, yes to both.
Okay.
As you are searching around the desk, you all have known Mrs. Fletcher for some stretch of time. She has been the longest standing member of the society, not necessarily a founding member, but the one that you all have known the longest. She has been here years before you all came here. You see her pull just a little lockpick set out of her purse, and you just see her pick the doctor's lock on the desk there, and you pop it open and you search around and you pop the bottom of the desk drawer, and you see that there's a hidden compartment in which there's a small set of gold keys, and you see that there's a filing cabinet, kind of like one of those wooden kind of rolling ones that has all these files in it, and you immediately recognize that these keys would fit this lock. And as you go to very surreptitiously close the desk drawer again, you glance at the desk and you see that there are very fine pens, a notepad, maybe a couple of just papers out there, some letters and documents. And you see that there is a very fine gold frame with a picture in it. The picture is of an older man, and he is kind of bent over some ropes, and you see he's got a pipe in his mouth, and dangling from his neck in the image, you see just a small locket with this kind of circular shape to it, with this kind of almost star-like shape or a little sun shape to it. Looks to be an image of a dock worker. And as you glance at it, you glance at the keys, you have only a little bit of time. You go over to the file cabinet and you unlock it and you slide it open, and you see that this does in fact contain the patient files. You do see also that there are little red tabs along them.
Okay. Is there anything on the picture that indicates a name, perhaps a surname?
On the tabs themselves, a name or a surname. You are seeing a few surnames there. One of them is Doyle. You see a couple others listed, kind of standard surnames, nothing that jumps out at you. But the first one that you grabbed, or that you see there, is marked Doyle.
Okay. I'm going to take it and probably call out to the rest of the society and go, "Can someone with better eyes take a look at this quickly?" And I'll just hold it out.
I will take a look.
Okay.
You open the folder and you see that there's the patient name. It's Doyle, Samuel, age 35, male, and you see the date that he had been admitted to the sanitarium, and how acute the case of tuberculosis was. And you notice that the little red tab that's on there indicates that he had been administered the serum that Dr. Blackmire had been talking about. And as you flip through and you see that there are notes taken daily after the first round of the serum had been administered. And one of the notes that you see was specifically that there was a note about photosensitive porphyria. Now, did anyone spend any time doing research in their research gathering phase? No.
Research when I can be violent? What?
Netta, you were making a face. That indicated
I was
maybe.
thinking if it counted, like, if I was basically gossiping among dead people, but it's like, that's not very formal, you know? So, wouldn't pass peer review.
Wouldn't pass me. Agent B, you've done a fair amount of research. You've heard of porphyria before, and it's very likely that Dance has also heard of porphyria. Dance especially has heard of porphyria. You know this, Dance. It pings in your brain as you're kind of peering over the shoulder. Porphyria is, especially light-sensitive porphyria, causes severe blisters on the skin when exposed to light.
Right, the vampire disease.
In essence. Yes,
See.
exposure to sunlight causes severe blistering hives on the skin.
The vampire what?
Well, I mean, not real vampires, but, you know, this is a condition that some people think may have started the idea of vampirism,
I see.
you know, as a myth, or what. It's light sensitivity kind of stuff.
Stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So use the technical term.
I thought we went over better vocabulary for you, Dance.
Well, I find that using big words just confuses people.
Oh. She looks over at C and goes, I suppose.
Why
I mean,
waste
not
time with
everybody
big
just
words?
talk to the Victorian ghosts all day. I mean, you know, kind of try to use the vocabulary of what's going on.
She gives you a bit of like a chastising look that you've definitely seen a million times before. But she lets it go. And instead she kind of just stands by the drawer that is still very clearly open, and just kind of stands watch over it just in case.
Gonna shove the file in my briefcase.
And then slowly I'm going to close the drawer where all the files were and lock it back up again.
And as you do, you see Dr. Blackmire come in with a little sugar bowl with a small teaspoon. She sets it on the tea tray and goes, there you are. Well, I think that's all the information I have. I do encourage you, please, talk to Nurse Carlyle. I believe that she would have some rather pressing information. Well, do finish up and make your way there, if you don't mind. I've got a lot of work to do.
Of course. And I just plunk the little sugar cube into my tea and finish my drink.
You all finish up your tea, your biscuits, and she shows you out through her study door. You make your way back down the hall, just to the outside of the locked ward there, and you peer through the ward windows, those kind of long glass windows. And as you peer through, you see Nurse Carlisle rounding the corner. She's kind of got a sack of soiled linens that she's thrown over her shoulder, and she glances at you through the window, and then she unlocks and opens the door and goes, "Can I help you?"
Yes. We have some questions.
Well, I'm rather busy, so make it quick.
Guess question one. How many dock workers who have been under the clinical trials have been released from this facility?
I'm sorry, what? How would you know what sort of patients we've got here?
Answer the question. My eyes are flicking gold.
Your boss hired us to investigate the incident.
Did she? Did she give you access to private patient files?
No. Knowing I have it. Or that I gave it to Agent B.
Interesting. Let me have Hannah. Let me have you roll manipulate someone. So you're going to roll plus your charm.
No, I'm gonna roll minus my charm.
Oh, minus your charm. Oh boy.
Oh, that's fine. That's a 9.
A 9. Excellent.
On 7 and 9, they'll do it, but only if you do something for them first. Now to show you mean it, you have too much. They'll tell you what, if anything, it would take for them to do it.
I know for a fact that you took some files, or perhaps you read something you weren't supposed to. And if you don't want me to report right now to Dr. Blackmire, you're going to tell me what you're going to give me for it.
Question.
I'm just gonna so my agency that I'm with, I chose well-financed and cover identities. So I'm just gonna take a pile of money out of my bag.
And you hand this wad of cash over to her, and she looks at it and she goes, and she immediately pockets it. That is easily a week's salary that you've just put into her hand. And she goes, right, come with me. And you see her turn a corner and beeline down a small corridor, headed towards the laundry room. And she's got this sack of linen over her shoulder. And she opens the laundry room door and she says, come on. And she files you all in. And closes the door behind you, locks it, and moves like a chair in front of it. And you just see her start like dumping the dirt, the soiled linens on the ground. Some of them are a little bit bloodied. And she goes, right. And she kicks them out of the side. What you want to know?
What a
The
start.
first question.
Oh, go for it.
First question that I asked would be nice, but if anyone else wants to chime in, feel free.
Well, of the people that we've got here convalescing, he's the only dock worker.
And you know that off the top of your head?
Yeah, I know everything about everyone. Steel trap this.
But you don't know what killed them?
No, I have no idea. I wasn't here. It's a bit creepy, isn't it?
Do you trust Dr. Rutherford?
Do I trust him?
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I do.
Why
But
not?
He's a bit of a scamp, isn't he? He's got that swagger. rather attractive in any other circumstance, but quite frankly, it's a little bit unprofessional.
I see.
Who do you trust here?
Well, as much as she probably has bitten off a bit more than she can chew, Dr. Blackmire's not a bad person. I think she's rather trustworthy. She cares very much about her patients. It's just patient load is quite high, so she's handed off a lot of things to me just to make sure that we can cover everything.
Who has access to the patient rooms?
Me and my nurses, those that are on duty. It's only usually about 5 at a time. Of course, Dr. Blackmire and Dr. Rutherford.
Are any of them particularly strong?
Strong, physically.
Physically, yes.
No, quite frankly, everybody who comes in here, if you're far enough gone with the consumption, you're not feeling very well, you're pretty weak. But, listen, and she glances over at you, Agent B. Look, privately, confidentially, I'll say that I'm a bit suspicious. I've got a sense that maybe Arthur, Dr. Rutherford, might be, he might have been doing some clinical trials with this serum that he's got. And I heard rumor that maybe he was selling it dockside, going down to the docklands, and I believe that he was pitching it to the dock workers. He said something about causing superhuman strength or never being able to tire. You could carry an ox on your shoulders. So I feel like he's been peddling it down there, maybe extra coin on the side.
One final thing. And gonna take out the newspaper I got this morning.
Yes.
Any of the dead who came in from this case, do you still have them in the morgue? Could we investigate the bodies?
Oh, the dock workers, the ones that had been mutilated. No, they're not ours. You see, this is just a convalescent home for those impacted by tuberculosis. You'd have to go to the city morgue to investigate those, I imagine.
Very well.
Does Dr. Rutherford have an office?
He does. Upstairs, it's on the other side of the hallway across from Dr. Blackmire's.
Mrs. Fletcher would probably stretch at her back, kind of wincing at the idea of more stairs.
Listen, I don't think that Arthur is really a bad guy. I think he's just, he's a young doctor, he's eager, and maybe just making a little extra coin on the side. Obviously, we'll just be kind to him, if you would. You see her kind of blush a little bit and retreat.
Mrs. Fletcher will put a hand on her shoulder if she allows it and goes, "Oh, darling, it'll pass."
I don't know what you mean whatsoever. And she's dumped all the soiled linens into a very hot, boiling tub of water. Right. Do you need anything else? Is there anything I can help you with?
Forget this conversation.
Done. Holds out her hand. She folds it up and goes, "Pleasure doing business with you." And she moves the chair and unlocks the door.
Perfect.
You all... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it seems like the best course of action is to go find Dr. Rutherford. If anyone else agrees.
Was literally going to agree. He's going to also nudge C and be like, this is generally the best way to be good with people. I think B has the right idea. B has a shortening, not actually calling her B.
People and their paper. I didn't even get to bash her head in.
Oh, don't worry, you'll get to bash your head in soon.
Yay! She has like the most pep in their step that you've seen this entire time. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Maybe keep
You
some
just
of
get
that
like a
meat
very
in the box.
chastising look from your grandmother.
How is Dance feeling at this moment?
Well, I guess just like suspicious and a little paranoid of why we were called here, I guess.
The paranoia is starting to irk you a little bit. This place is, while warm and, doing some good, you can certainly get the sense that it's creepy. It's eerie being surrounded by this much illness, these high, dark ceilings, wood furnishings. And you all kind of make your way out through that corridor and round and go back up the large grand staircase where it splits at the top, and at one side you went off towards Dr. Blackmire's office. And directionally, going the other way was where Jane had ended up indicating was the best way for you to find Dr. Rutherford. And as you do, you make your way up the stairs, you're hearing rustling sounds. You're hearing sounds of paper being thrown on the floor. You're hearing kind of sounds of someone rifling through things in an office. And the door is just slightly ajar.
You're muted.
Oh.
I think.
Oh, Moon, are you talking or are you muted on? Or, it's okay. No, I think we couldn't tell.
Okay, so I will pat myself down and make sure that the small handgun I usually carry is on me.
It is.
I won't draw it, but I will stealthily go over to the crack in the door and see if I can see who's rifling through the papers.
Sure. I'm going to have you roll an act under pressure, so it's going to be plus your cool.
Okay, cool. So that's 8.
An 8. You press your hand on the door and you just very slightly open it. You peer in and you see a tall, thin, pale young man in a black suit kind of going through this office. And as you just very gingerly turn and place kind of just one eye along the door frame there, you see he's muttering to himself. He's frantic. His hair is tousled. His tie has come undone, and he's kind of just riffling through all these papers. And he pauses as he hears as the door just barely squeaks. You see him whip his head around, and you see this kind of high cheekbones, angular face. Very, for how pale he is, he's even blanched further. That he forgot to close the door, and he sees someone he doesn't recognize there. He goes, "What do you want?"
Well, I wanted to know what was making all that noise in this room.
This is my private office. You're not welcome here.
I look to see if there's a name on the door.
There's a gold plate that says Dr. Rutherford.
Dr. Rutherford?
Yes, that's me. Now, if you wouldn't be so kind, please leave.
Okay. Yeah. Are you sure everything's okay?
I'm fine, thank you. And you see,
fine, though?
and as you say, "Are you fine though?" You push the door open just slightly more, and you see that the office is just completely turned over. It looks as though it's been ransacked. You don't understand why this doctor would be doing this to his own space.
is there something I can help you with?
No, thank you. I don't know who you are, and I'm looking for something, so if you please be so kind.
Oh, I walk over with my hand out. Oh, I'm Dance. Nice to meet you.
And he glances, you just see him, like, sneer.
Like the second he's like, I don't know who you are. I'm like, oh, okay, of course. Well, let me introduce
What, of
myself.
course?
Hmm.
You see him sneer, you see his shoulders kind of go up towards his ears, and he's looking down, and he goes, thank you, Dance, but I don't need your help. You all, the four of you are also standing, and you're hearing this kind of tense exchange that's happening at the moment.
I have a question.
I have an answer, perhaps.
Do we know if in my other form I can communicate to people?
You can to an extent, but it is very, like, stunted. Like, it's like you can do, like, nouns and verbs.
So, like, I could possibly offer to help and then change?
Oh, certainly.
All right. I think These will walk in and they'll kind of, like, loudly biff the door as they go in. Like, not enough to, like, show everybody else standing there, but, like, just like I can help you find things. What do you want to find?
He goes, the hell are you?
And then Cease will morph into a very large gray wolf on all fours and just kind of, like, glare at him a little bit.
And you see him panic rises into his face. His eyes go wide. His hair stands on him. And he's, Jesus Christ! And he turns and he dives through the window. And you see him as you run after him, and you see over the edge that he has fallen into a hedgerow, and you see him kind of very, like, scraggly, like, get up, and you see him, he goes, oh, fuck this, and you start seeing him run across the grounds. And that is where we're going to take our break.
Evil.
Cliffhanger! That's what makes good horror. Friends, we are going to take a quick break here. Make sure you drink some water, run to the bathroom, get a snack, take care of yourselves, posture check. Yes, exactly. We'll be back in roughly 10 or so minutes. So stick around for the second half of the Blackmire Affair.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, hello. We are fundraising for Doctors Without Borders in support of Palestine because fuck genocide. We are going to add a cheeky little thing. For every $20 donation or more, you can give advantage equivalent to a character of your choosing. If you want to be chaotic, I'm just saying you could give it to the GM and see what they do with it. You can do whatever you would like. And you can just let us know in chat who you want to give it to. We have a current goal of $500, and I believe you all can destroy that. So let's get back into it so I can bite some bitches.
Back into it we shall get. I'm very excited. At the break, just before, you had seen a tall, lanky, pale young man rifling through the papers in Dr. Rutherford's office. Upon Dance's attempts at maybe some heavy-handed negotiation calming tactics, and followed up by the other high charisma, definitely not here to break things down, attempt by Cease to find out who this person was and what they were doing. Celine transfigured into a large gray wolf and scared the ever-loving fuck out of this man to the point that he dove out of a second-story window, landed in a hedgerow, and you saw him run off into the distance. And that is where we left off. At this point, you all are kind of standing there. We've got Dance and Cease at the window there. We've got the other three kind of pouring into the room. You hear thundering footsteps up the wooden stairs. Rounding the corner, you see Jane in the doorway, like her hair coming out of her bun, and she goes, "My God, what's happened here?"
He jumped out the window.
What? Who?
We didn't.
What happened? Who was it? Who jumped out the window? What's going on? Why is this room is totally fucked? Oh my God, I'm going to get fired for this. What's going on?
When she says the room is totally fucked, I just point at the dog.
Oh, no. Why is this? Big, hello, puppy. Hello. It's all right. Oh God, I'm gonna pass out. Oh God.
Cease is gonna like turn and, as much as a wolf can, kind of like smirk, give a little growl, and jump out that window chasing this motherfucker.
God! What the fuck was that? Why is there a wolf in here? Can someone fucking explain?
Going to hold the woman, and she said she was going to pass out. If she is going to go a little weak at the knees, probably help her lay down. But if not, she's just there being like, "It's all right. Everything is completely under control. This is absolutely normal. You don't need to worry about any of this, darling, please."
And you just see her bent over at the waist, her hands on her knees, and she's like, "What do you mean normal? How is this normal? What the fuck was that? Why is there a bloody wolf in my house? Oh God. Huh.
It's all right, darling. This is what we are hired to do now, please. Don't alarm yourself and just return to your duties.
Is that your friend? Was that your friend? The wolf was your friend?
I'll go out the window.
Oh no. Oh, thank you, LB, from Hack Recklessly. The donation is to me. So I now have a hold that I can implement at one time for that inspiration. Thank you so much. You see Dance just like hand on the windowsill, hup, over the edge, and you land kind of in the bush. It takes you a little bit to kind of get out. You've done stuff like this before. Your coat, your khaki trench coat is like kind of caught, and you just like, you all lean over and you see Dance just kind of like almost comedically tumbling out of the hedgerow and like covered in vegetation as he starts running after these two. What are the other three doing at this moment?
I want to do a sweep of the room, looking for like kind of two things.
Sure.
One, a photo of Dr. Rutherford to see if the man we just saw was actually Dr. Rutherford, and two, try and figure out what he was looking for in all of this mess.
Sure, investigate a mystery for me.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's plus sharp.
Yes.
11.
11. Fantastic. You get 2. So you're asking if there's a photo of Dr. Rutherford.
Yeah.
Which there is. You do see a family portrait, and you see what appears to be maybe mother and father and a young son who looks close, younger version of this, but looks very close to that.
I'm used to doing the age up math.
Yeah, exactly. And you got an 11. Yes, with an 11, you look around and you see that there is a case, a leather case that is set on kind of like a sideboard that is popped open. And upon further examination, it looks as though he's gone through it, but kind of tucked in a corner that he didn't catch perhaps in his frantic rush. You see that there is a tiny serum vial, that big, glass, with a clear liquid in it. Putting 2 and 2 together based off of his frantic nature and based off of everything that you've heard thus far, you are thinking perhaps that this is the purported concoction that he has been peddling to the dockside workers.
If Mrs. Fletcher sees it, she'll just kind of peer over Agent B's shoulder and just having a look. Do you think this is it?
I believe so. I'm gonna have one of the boys from the lab come down and compare to the local morgue. I want to deal with the agency. The move on my sheet.
Deal with the agency, yes. The move on your sheet. Let's see here. Pulling that up right now. When you deal with the agency, requesting help or gear, making excuses for a failure, you roll plus sharp. So I would say that you could certainly put in a call.
Yeah, for a lab boy.
Yeah, go ahead and roll plus sharp.
Not 10.
A 10. Excellent. You're good. Your request goes through. They said, yep, righto, we'll get right on that. Just let us know when you can get it to us. Right now, I think you've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
What is Alexei doing at this moment?
Right now, I think Alexei has had his back to the wall, sort of looking at everything, and now the nurse Candace is still here, right?
Yes, yeah. Jane is still here. You see that she's kind of like hyperventilating.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to burn a luck point. I'm going to manipulate her to calm down, essentially, in the most kindly, empathetic manner a ghost-speaking man can, which is to say, like a souped-up version of the way Agent B very calmly put money into her hand. He's holding her wrists as she surveys this, and the pits of his eyes go black again, and he says, "I need you to calm down.
Okay.
You can forget this happened. This is Rutherford's fault.
Okay.
When you come back in here, you'll know this was Rutherford who did this.
Okay.
And take some time off."
Right. Time off. You better get to the Docklands before dusk. You'll be hard to find otherwise. And you see her just completely vacant.
Oh. And then, the ghost of a smile appears from a ghost over his shoulder that's purveying with more interest than him. Thank you very much. Right. Then I don't think we need anything else here. We can send someone to clean up too, if that'll help.
You see her
and
yeah, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great. And you see the ghost over your shoulder, like, oh, this one's so overworked. This is just terrible. I hate this. Oh, man.
Yeah, and Alexi's like nodding to the ghost, like, I hear you. They might all be overworked, and
Oh,
maybe
they
that's
totally
part of
are.
the problem.
They totally are. It's really messed up.
But we don't get paid the kind of wage for a bigger adventure to tackle that kind of problem.
No,
so,
no, that's true.
no.
That's true. Yeah. You know what? The society rates really need to go up. It's really, really bad out there.
Mm-hmm. And Pierre's probably out to the broken window where two people jumped out, and I'll just be transparent to the audience here. The version of my sheet that I had rotes in, I did not save, so I forgot my rotes. I'm going to just use
Make
magic.
them up. One shot.
All right. Okay. To say to the effect of what happens, I'm essentially going to just create like an escalator of like ghostly hands, so that we don't have to go down the longer way. And then Alexi does like a mock bow to the remainder Gertrude and Agent B, as in to say, like, anything else to do in here? If not,
I think we're good. Just walk down the escalator.
you don't have to walk.
It's brilliant. There's these just like these hands that you step on, and they just kind of transport you down at an angle.
That's the kind of person they are. They walk down escalators.
It really says so much about a person.
Amir, for that beautiful description of your road, I would like you to take a luck point back. I'm going to give you an inspiration point back because I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. You pulled it out on the fly. So kudos. You make your way down the escalator. You see the footprints leading off, and you begin to follow. Mrs. Fletcher moving a little bit slower, just given her age, but she's sprightly, and there's some kind of ghosts a little bit like nudging her along, as kind of making it a little bit easier for her to go. And you wend your way across the lawn through, and you're entering the city limits, and you're kind of picking up the trail. You do know that some of you know that Cease. You all have worked with Cease. The only person who hadn't at this point worked with Cease is Dance. You do know that Cease is not only, hot-headed, brazen, is going to go in and, kick ass and ask questions later. But they're very adept at leaving clues along the way. And you all knew that you were heading towards the Docklands, and you kind of are following the route that you know to get to the Docklands, and you're seeing little clumps of gray fur along the way, almost as like a trail of breadcrumbs, as if they're reaching up and scratching some of it off so that you know where you can follow. And you arrive at the Docklands as dusk settles in. You're feeling the moist air coming off of the water. It's damp and it's cool. We're getting into autumn here, October time of year. And you're feeling the wet air kind of permeating through your jacket or your sweater, and your shoulders kind of hunch up around you as you find yourselves on the cobble streets just before the Docklands there, before it breaks off into these kind of sections of slatted wood. And as the three of you arrive, you find Cease. What form are you in at the moment?
I am still a big wolf.
Still a big old wolf. The three of you immediately spot this big wolf, and standing next to this big wolf, this kind of disheveled looking man in a khaki trench coat who's got just like bits of hedgerow stuck in his hair. And they're kind of standing there and they're peering around as you see Dance is standing next to Cease there as well.
I attempt to track and see if I can smell him, in the sense if I just followed him, probably have an idea of what he smells like.
Yes. I am going to say that might be an act under pressure. Let's go with that. So
Great.
plus you're cool.
Minus my cool, but I get +1 to investigate because I'm stayed in my wolf form. So I get
Ayy.
0.
Hey, +0 sometimes.
I was like, I'm staying as a wolf just for this.
Sometimes you're the wolf and sometimes you're the hairy doctor. We get it.
Now it's a 6.
A 6. Mark experience on your sheet. That's 2 6s.
Great, y'all.
Balance indeed, Munchkin. As you kind of peer around and you're looking to see where he may have gone, you hear a creak from behind, like a stack of crates with like a fishing net over top of it. You hear a creak and you kind of bear down a little bit and you put your nose to the ground and you start creaking forward. But as you do, you're stepping onto that actual wooden dock there. And as you do, you step on a broken board and it breaks under you and you're stuck there. And as you do, you hear the shifting behind these crates as you hear like this kind of frantic scrabbling of footsteps of hard wingtip shoes on cobblestone as he kind of scrabbles forward, and you see the doctor just like and he starts to beeline it away from you. What do you all do?
Mrs. Fletcher, in no shape or age to be running after the doctor, will focus her attention on Celine and kind of, I mean, she's a dog now, so kind of the same sort of like, it's okay, girl, and kind of just trying to encourage her to get her paw unstuck.
Just the whole time, like,
It's all right. Come on.
It's the werewolf equivalent of like, it's okay, baby. As you attempt to free Celine, what are the other 3 doing at this moment? As you're seeing the doctor kind of running further into the docklands, where do you head?
So we're like pretty close to the actual like dock where there are people and
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. And it's late, so people are starting to they're leaving for the day. It's getting close to complete darkness now.
I want to full tilt chase after then.
Dang! Let me have you
I
then.
was hoping we were still in the forest. I was just going to shoot him with my sniper rifle.
Well, fair. You're in the city now.
just a casual murder. It's fine.
It's not murder. You're just shooting a leg out.
You know,
Because they can't run away anymore.
it's fine.
God, we're a mess.
I'm gonna have. So, are you chasing? You're chasing in that case.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have you act under pressure.
Cool.
It's not murder. It was just like aimed assault.
I'm gonna hold 2, thanks to bottle it up.
Ooh. So you get a +2 to it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So this is gonna be a total +4.
Ooh.
You get
I get 2 holds. Is that what?
as well. Yeah, you get to hold that you can use as minus on any move except for actor under pressure later.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good thing I took that. That's an 8.
All right. Sorry, making notes at the same time. It's like walking and chewing gum. An 8. You do it. You start chasing him. And as you do, you're met with this kind of intersection of 3 different directions. And you see that he, you don't know which direction he's gone. You pause for a moment, and the rest of you kind of catch up as you're at this crossroads. And you pause for a moment. I'm gonna fudge the rules a little bit here and say that with an 8, I'm gonna take that hold and use it maybe later. And you pause for a second, and all of you listen very carefully, and you peer down the middle stretch, which is this tight alley that seems to end in a dead end, and you hear heavy panting and breathing. You all make your way down there, and you see that at the end, our dear Dr. Rutherford has run into a brick wall, and he's kind of clawing at it, and he's trying to hop up and see what he can do to get out of here. He's peering all around him. There's no exit. You all have cornered him here. And he goes, "Please, I didn't mean any harm. It wasn't me."
What
That's
wasn't
what-
you, darling?
They all say at the end of the alleyway.
I didn't kill that man at the sanitarium. I didn't do it. Please, I'm just a doctor. I'm just trying to help people.
I believe you, but why were you so panicked? I mean, jumping out of a window, you're a doctor. You should know that that would be very, very detrimental to your health.
Well, there was a great bloody wolf bearing down on me, wasn't there? What was I supposed to do?
Well, perhaps answer the wolf's questions.
The wolf's questions.
Never mind that, dear. What is wrong? Why were you in such a state?
I was looking for something. Something I misplaced. It was stupid of me. Please, you have to understand, I am trying to help.
Right. Well, I believe you, but sometimes when we try to do things, we end up failing, such as attempting to calm you down. We can see clearly that that went completely awry.
Just look. I'm trying to find out what's happened to these dock workers. What happened to that man back at the manor? I don't know. But I can tell you now, it wasn't me. I wasn't the one administering the serum. You've got it all wrong. I was trying to
A
help.
serum. We didn't mention a serum.
Right, but I was there, helping Dr. Blackmire. I was trying to help her with her administration of that new treatment, but it went all wrong. The patient started acting wild, feral. I started working on an antidote, a sort of counter serum, to help calm them down. But then I started hearing about the murders on the docksides. I thought that maybe someone had gotten a hold of it. The serum makes you lose time. We've seen them black out, come to. It only happens at night. I was creating an antidote to stop the aggression. That's what I've been looking for. That's what I lost. That's what I had misplaced. And when I saw you all there, when I had seen the body of that poor man, I'm just trying to help. I swear. You've got to believe me.
And this experimental serum, not the antidote. It wasn't your idea?
No. No, it was something that Dr. Blackmire was tinkering with the whole time. Brilliant for treating tuberculosis, but at what cost?
Mrs. Fletcher is going to. I mean, it's not like she was ever imposing anyway, but sort of back off and look at the party to see if they're believing this.
So this antidote, it's complete?
Yes. I dare say the antidote works better than whatever Dr. Blackmire was trying to create. I don't know if she's secretly just wanting to try it anyway, and well, you know, when you've seemingly found a cure for something, some people devote it at all costs.
So you'd be willing to take Dr. Blackmire's serum and then take your antidote?
If that's what it takes to get you to believe me, then yes, I will.
Okay, I believe him.
Oh, thank God. Please, I just want to help. And you see him kind of starting to lose it a little bit. And as you all do and see this man, you hear from one of the tall ships in the dockyard a blood-curdling scream. hell was that? Oh, God. Oh, we might be too late.
I believe that might be your next patient. And Miss Fletcher will kind of stay with the doctor in bedside manner while the more able-bodied party members go and deal with that.
What are the rest of the four of you doing if Mrs. Fletcher is staying with the doctor?
I'm gonna walk over to Miss Fletcher and go, Gran, and hand her, like, stealthily the serum, and be like, meet up with the doctor and my associate. Let's get some more of this made.
She just puts it in her bag next to the revolver that's in there that I realize is.
Of course, and the cookies.
You know, Nana's got a revolver. It's how it goes.
Revolver, cookies, possible antidote, possible evil serum.
Don't spill it on the cookies.
Don't spill it on
I'll
the
be so upset.
As you, Mrs. Fletcher, reach out and take the serum vial from your grandchild, wrap it into your hands, tuck it into your purse. What are the four of you doing? Are you making your way over towards the sound?
I'm bolting.
You're bolting?
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm following their lead.
The four of you come thundering out of the alley, and as you do, you peer up at the tall ship in the shipyard there. Above you, you see a figure in a black coat, large shoulders, a flat black hat, and this sort of evil-looking, wide-set eye, hooked nose. And you see above them, they're holding a man who is screaming and flailing. You see that this person seems completely unfazed. Lifting him up he's feather light in comparison, and you hear him screaming, no, please, no. And you see that there are people surrounding the dockyard, some of them holding torches or lanterns as they're seeing, and they're kind of trying to peer up as it's gotten well past sunset at this point. And you see the figure as they're kind of pointing these lights at it. You see the figure bring the man into his arms. You hear the crunching of bones as you see it twist it and throw him off over the side of the ship. And you hear the corpse land in the water, and it turns and looks at you. And friends, we are entering combat.
I mean, bite some bitches.
Yeah.
Cozy.
You will see if you open up your owlbear rodeo. There is our dockyards. I'm going to put your little tokens in here. Actually built some. Actually, our wonderful producer this evening, TheBleakseason, has built tokens for all of you, and I will put them here. I'm going to remove. Actually, no. Hold on. I can assign these to you, I believe. Copy. Thank you. I was talking to our producer in the ear. You all can't hear that, but it's much like Mrs. Fletcher and Alexi. I'm just talking to myself. You will see that your tokens are out here. Rutherford is down the alley here, and we've got our Mrs. Fletcher here, adjacent to him. The wolf token there is our wolf, obviously. And we have, yes, excellent. We have one of our people's here, I believe. So, all right. So you see the figure. As I have totally made my whole thing too far. Refresh real quick. Aha, there we go. Now I can see better. You see the figure here on the map. which is further over on the ship there. This person has been thrown into the water. You see this kind of ominous looking figure in this large plague doctor's mask, and you hear kind of this heavy grunting breath, like what do you all do? There is no initiative order per se in Monster of the Week, so if there are things that folks would like to do, first and foremost, this is how you collaborate in terms of who's going when and doing what moves. So
I would, considering I am the least capable physically, I would like to use Jinx.
Jinx,
To
excellent.
perhaps give Cease an advantage.
Ooh, excellent.
Thank you, because I'm rolling like shit tonight.
And you can't even blame me about it.
I know. It's unfair.
Excellent. So yes, take that advantage for you, Cease. Perhaps on a roll. You could roll again on that. Who else? What are other folks doing?
Does it seem like a person or possibly some kind of creature or something? Like, does it look unnatural anyway, other than the weird breathing?
It does look unnatural. It's like probably 6.5, 7 feet tall, and you're seeing these very long, like large, wide shoulders. You're not seeing much neck. There's some coverage by this like kind of flat hat there. If we could, producer, I don't know if it's possible to flash that art just for visuals, but let's see if we can get it. If not, but that it does look a little bit supernatural in a way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, or it just came out of a showing of The Crow, one of the two.
Yes.
Well, I have an ability called Monster Empathy.
Monster Empathy. Amazing.
Yeah, can I try to determine, well, that's why me and the werewolf get along so well. Right?
That's why, yeah. You're like, yeah, we may be rivals, but hey, a job is a job.
Oh, right. So
there on your screen, on your Twitch screen, is the depiction of the creature.
So yeah, can I try to use my monster empathy to try to figure out its desires?
Yes, absolutely. Let's take a look at your monster empathy here. Right. You have, go ahead and roll plus charm.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great.
12.
A 12.
Wow.
Moon. That's amazing. Well done. You get to hold 2, so you can. I can answer 2 of these questions honestly.
Okay, so what does it most desire?
It most desires to kill the dock workers here.
Okay. And
specifically the dock workers.
That's okay. That's not so great. I guess what would distract it?
What
the other question
would distract it? Based off of the information that you have from the patient file regarding photosensitive porphyria, you know that light is a problem for this thing. Exposure to light is going to be a big problem.
Okay. I guess I'll pass that along to everybody else that, I think it's sensitive to light and it's looking at those dock workers in an unpleasant way.
And you are seeing that there are civilians and dock workers who have torches and lanterns in their hands as well. So when I say torches, I mean English torches, flashlights.
Okay.
Yes. Excellent. What are my other folks doing?
I think seeing a murder, Agent B would determine that lethal force is now authorized. And would say that out loud, just lethal force authorized. As she's had this kind of guitar-shaped bag on her back this entire time. and pulls a sniper rifle out of it.
Woo! Woo!
And just takes fire.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
That
So this is a rolling for kick ass. Kick some
kick some
ass.
ass.
Yeah.
I just can't do very basic math. What is 6 plus 2? 8.
8. Do you have an do you have an additional modifier to that, or do you have a plus?
I had a 1 and a 6 on the die, and then a +1 from tough.
Copy that.
Yeah.
So you had an 8. So for those of you who have never played Monster of the Week at home, so you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other on a 7 plus. The amount of harm is based on the established dangers in the game. Well, we have that. So this would be the harm rating of your weapon. So what is the harm rating of your weapon?
4.
A 4. Oof. +4 harm. Sheesh. I am keeping track of hit points in here. As you whip out your sniper rifle and you just like set it on its little stand, and you set the sight and you just take a shot and you clip it right in the shoulder, and it rears back, and it immediately starts barreling towards you on all fours, this kind of galloping, loping. And you see that as it does, you see that they're, especially you, Dance, are going to recognize that this creature is wearing long black leather gloves as it gallops towards you, and it rears back to you, Agent B, and you see it pull one of these leather gloves back, and you see these like silvered claws come out of the leather as it takes a swipe on you. You are going to take 2 harm. Do you have any armor?
Yeah, that's gonna reduce that to 1.
That'll reduce it to 1 harm. So, as this happens, you see it just rake across your chest. You're going to take a -1 forward. So for your next roll, you're going to subtract 1 on it as you just feel this searing pain. You're so distracted by it. What is Alexi doing in this process?
Probably at Dance's exclamation that was extremely useful and pertinent to the situation. They're going to, I think, backpedal to where would you say the crowd is relative to us right now?
They are going to be kind of back. Let me see if I can ping on the map. They're going to be like back in these areas here, back behind you.
So right now, I just don't know what move it would be, but he's going to like physically backpedal, and to the first person who has like a light, a torch in their hand, like extend his hand wordlessly if they don't just give it to him.
Sure.
Assuming they're in a state of shock, and he takes the torch, and that's probably too. That might be too far to throw, but he might make an effort with his throw anyway to throw it at the were-vampire,
the were-vampire, whatever this is,
The bad bitch.
so just as a reminder that it's not a flame torch, it's a flashlight. So
okay,
yeah,
that makes that so much easier. Then he's instead like going to aim it simply
sure,
at the hulking monstrosity.
yeah. You do it readily. You just see this person kind of like standing there in shock, and as you just back up and just like wrap your hand around it and just hold it up here, and as you do, you see as this monster has been bearing down on Agent B, has swiped across it, you hit it with a flashlight, and you see it like draw back, and you see it kind of pull back from the light as it kind of tries to scamper off.
Man, would you say that counted as a move? Because I would want to. I like what I had in my mind is that I would want to use that to help see if they're
As like
if they're trying to pounce.
as like a help action?
Yeah, like as a help action.
Absolutely. Let's see here. So then you can go ahead. Let me have you roll help out. So that's going to be plus cool.
Plus cool, which is 0. Okay.
Don't forget you have advantages.
I do. 1, 4.
Also, friends, while we are rolling here, please thank you and all of the good praise for donating to Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders. That is why we are here. This is an all-Arab gaming table, and we are here raising some funds. So if you would like to donate, a donation of $20 or higher will get you an option to give an inspiration point to any player of your choice, including me. So feel free to do that. Netta, how'd it go?
Well, I rolled a 5, so I'm thinking I will just use another luck that I got back. So like a luck point to make it a 12.
Automatic
How about
12. Awesome. So on a 12 plus, you are going to pick an advantage that is listed. Oh, sorry. On the help action, sorry. Your help lets them act as if they have rolled a 12. So regardless of what they actually get, which is pretty cool. So with that, Cease, talk to me. Tell me what's going on.
Like I'm immortal right now. Oh my God. So, seeing everything that's happening, Cease is very, very pissed off, right? Because creatures like this are the reason they have to people and listen, because everyone assumes they're like this, and it's just they're really pissed. So they are gonna run at this thing as much as possible, as fast as they can, with their jaw a bit unhinged, and see if they can get around the leg to like pull this thing down.
Yeah, go for it. You can roll just for the fun of rolling, but you get an automatic 12 because of that help action being an automatic.
I'm gonna roll just to see if I'm screwed for need new dice.
Or, yeah.
Of course, that's the best roll I've gotten all night. It's fine. Anyway, I'll take my automatic 12 because it's not that good.
Amazing. So you get to pick an enhanced effect under that kick some ass under the basic moves of the hunter agenda. So you completely hold the advantage, and all hunters around you involved in the fight can get a +1 forward. You're going to suffer no harm at all. Your attack inflicts double normal harm, or your attack drives the enemy away in a round.
I'm gonna give the +1 to the other hunters.
Oops. The +1 advantage to other hunters, as you have. So you on the map here have met the creature here. We've got Alexi here, and we had taken point here for our agent. Talk to me about Dance and Mrs. Fletcher. What's happening in your world?
Is there like, I assume there would be like lamp posts around that are using electricity.
Yep, certainly.
Perhaps. I think Mrs. Fletcher will go into her handy little handbag and pull out her Glock, essentially, and I would like to shoot at the lampposts, hoping that it makes some sort of like flare or something that could further blind the creature.
Wow! Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have you roll an act under pressure for that.
Okay. And that would be going off.
Plus your cool.
Plus nothing. Love it. 3.
Oh no! Do you want to take one of your inspiration, one of your luck points?
I would like to take my luck point, please.
There you go. Automatic success. So you can choose to either do what you want plus something extra involved in that, or you can do what you want to absolute perfection. So the vision that you have for this idea.
I'll take a
tell me
little
what you're
extra.
thinking.
I wouldn't mind.
Sure. So tell me. So the idea being that you are causing like a big fire flare. Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, basically just enough to further blind it or hinder it while everybody else is doing the legwork.
Yes. And what other action would you like to do in addition to that?
Oh, was I supposed to be able to come up with that? I thought it was like a little surprise.
So, yeah, I mean, you can come up with it or I can come up with it. That's the beauty of the collaborative
I didn't have
storytelling.
anything in mind.
Sure. Excellent. So then what you do is you see Dr. Rutherford, who's kind of like sweating and cowering next to you as you turn and look at him and give him kind of a don't worry, dearie look on your face. And you pull out this handgun and he draws back. He like kind of scampers back and he's scooting along the wall. And you take aim, perfect precision aim. It apparently, runs in the family here. As you clip the lamp just right, and it ignites in this fireball. And as it does, this shower of sparks rains down around Celine and this entity. And you see that a fire on one of the crates covered in this the fishing net there lights on fire, and you see the creature kind of shriek and rear back and kind of topple over. It is now knocked prone. Excellent. I'll hand it over to Dance. Dance, what's going on?
Well, I guess I'll approach the creature now that there's like fire and stuff everywhere, and I'll pull out the angel feather I have.
Yes.
Fallen angel feather, and I'll pull that out. It's a big white feather.
A fallen angel? What?
Yeah. I don't think it can be burned or destroyed, but I will put it in the fire and see if that makes it like light up or anything.
If your feather would light up?
Yeah, because I guess
yeah.
It counts as a weakness against this specific sort of monster. So I don't know if I can use it to like shine a light on it somehow or.
As you take your feather out of your jacket and you dip it into the flame and you see it, and it burns with this sort of ethereal kind of arcane flame that kind of snakes and dances, and you wield it out in front of this creature that kind of backs up a little bit, and as it does, it kind of knocks its mask askew, and you see just the outline of like a mouth and a face, and as you see that there, you start to see that the skin is blistering in the light. What are others doing?
Oh.
So there's no like turn order, initiative order, so you can jump in wherever you're feeling frisky about it.
You have to take the mask off. I don't know
Cause
how.
chaos. I'm just gonna eat this bitch.
Mask schmask, I got a snack.
I was not promised cookies. There's something I need to eat. Also, we might have named your gun in chat.
Oh, how did I miss that? Which chat?
In the Twitch chat.
On the Twitch chat.
In the Twitch chat? Oh no.
I'm fine with that.
Oh my god. Yes. Cookies is now the name of your gun. There were never cookies in the bag, it was just a firearm.
God damn it, I want cookies.
Oh my god.
Nassie's really angry. What extra do I want to be?
Oh, one shot. Extra.
So, this is probably a terrible idea. Cece's gonna revert back to their human form and try to punch off the mask with the brass knuckles.
Oh my god. Yes.
I'm gonna regret not being a wolf. I know this. I'm gonna be like, I could have eaten this thing alive.
Go ahead and roll some kick some ass. You get a +1 on that because of the advantage given to you.
Yes. I love when there's things
By
that
the
I
help
actually
out?
have pluses and not minuses.
Yes, by the lit feather.
14 technically.
Oh my god.
I swear I am good at something.
So go ahead and
Punching
choose
bitches.
this. Go ahead and choose this enhanced effect. What do you choose?
I can do the like double damage thing.
You can inflict double the amount of harm. So what is your normal harm on your brass knuckles?
That's a great question.
Should be on your character sheet with there should be an indication next to the weapon itself. I can do it too.
1.
A 1. So, I mean, +2, reminder that, hit points in Monster of the Week are a lot lower than they are in other systems. As you do and inflict 2 points of harm on this poor creature, you rear back and you hit the like beak of this plague doctor's mask. It goes flying off, and you hear this shriek as you look down, and before you see this massive sort of like grotesque bestial creature before you. But you look a little bit closer and you recognize the kind of wispy dark hair, perhaps what was once a depiction of very soft, kind eyes. Before you on the ground, covered in these blisters that are bursting with this horrible pus, you see Dr. Blackmire, this massive version of herself, full, like Hulk mode, as she is shrieking and rearing back from the light. And as she puts her arms up, you see that like she's got this full leather all the way down.
I look at Alexi. I told you she wasn't good at peopling.
Alexi's way back, like way back with the light. Like,
I'm like nodding. Mhm. Permission to punch.
Like I have no idea who it is. I'm just like.
you see at this point, Dr. Rutherford had seen this punch land, and he stands up and he goes, "Gertrude?" And you see her kind of like pull back. You see her mouth is kind of almost like snout-like. She looks very bestial. She's got these sharp, kind of jagged, mismatched fangs. Her eyes are wild and frantic. She's kind of got, there's a little bit of kind of foam, this pinkish foam at her mouth from where she's kind of, you can tell that she's bitten her tongue and she's gnashing her teeth at you all. And you see Dr. Rutherford stand up and go, "My God, Gertrude, what's happened? This is exactly what's happened to the patients. When I was talking about the aggression, this is what it looked like."
Did she have the consumption?
No. Oh, gods. I think she's been administering the serum to herself. She said that her trials were a bit strange. She didn't want to test them on the patient. She's been using it on herself. Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Well, this will test if you're truthful to us or not. I want to take out my first aid kit,
Uh-huh.
take a needle, walk over to Grandma, grab the serum from her, and administer it to Dr. Gertrude.
Excellent. Oh my God. What are the rest of you doing? Are you helping this endeavor? What's going on?
I'm opening my bag, handing it over.
Yeah. You all kind of stand up and make your way in a little bit. You've got this needle, you're drawing the fluid out and you're kind of flicking it and making sure it's ready. What's happening with Dance and Alexi and Cease in this time?
I'm gonna try and put out the feather.
Sure. Your spiritual guide, you hear the whisper in the ear of, "Oh, leaving so soon, honey?" As you just swipe your hand over the feather and it goes out and it's miraculously back exactly the way it looked before.
Okay, that's good. I put that away.
Mm-hmm. Anything else that you're doing in this time?
I guess I'm just trying to calm the creature so that it doesn't, so that we can inject it with the, quote unquote cure.
Sure. Is there anything that you'd like to roll for that to see? Let's see here. You've got the...
I have an ability called Dark Desires that lets me manipulate monsters.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so So you're going to use the manipulate someone move on this monster, now knowing who she is and what she has been up to. What do you say to her? Put you on the spot a little bit.
I guess just stay calm. I like, as I'm putting the feather away, I said, I'm putting it away now. No one's gonna hurt you. We're just gonna try and help you as best we can.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead and roll me the manipulate someone. So roll plus charm, please.
11.
11.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You see her as she's kind of frantic and panicking as her breathing is this kind of raspy. She starts to calm down and she just keeps eye contact with you as you've kind of neutralized her at this point. Alexi, what are you doing in this?
I don't feel. I mean, I don't know if he necessarily needs to do anything. So, what his first instinct probably is to do is to like, sort of shield the crowd or like wave them back with the light in his hand, like almost as if he's playing cop, but instead there's like multitudinous not like silhouettes, they're translucent, so, because they're ghosts, and they're like obscuring the vision and also waving them down at the same time, like nothing to see here, as they're in shock. So
yeah, it's this kind of ghostly power as you see this kind of like army of ghosts lining up next to you. Various people. You see the spirit of the dock worker kind of emerge from the depths, and he makes his way over to you, and he goes, "Hell, that was a terrible way to die." And he starts like putting his arms out and like pushing the crowd back. And you see the crowd starting to like watch what's happening, but they're getting pushed back as they go further. Excellent. As you kind of braced this crowd away, you've subdued Dr. Gertrude here. Celine, where are you in the scope of what's happening in your life right now? Also, we are $100 away from our goal. Please donate. We're coming up on the end of our stream, so we would love to hit that goal before we finish out.
I think Cease is going to remember that they do care a lot about helping people. And as a person wolf who doesn't do peopling very well, they're going to revert back to a wolf and just snuggle up against this lady to try to comfort, because that's all they know how to do. And they're like, I won't bite your face, I guess.
I'm gonna have you roll for wholesome content. It's not on your character sheet, but yeah.
I think that's plus weird.
Plus weird.
I have a lot of plus weird. Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what I want you to do. I think because you're human right now, right? Are you reverting back to your wolf? That's what you said? You're human now. So back to wolf form? Are you going back?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna regret, but sure.
And as you
snuggles,
you shift back into it, and you kind of like feel your bones cracking a little bit. You cuddle up next to her. I am just because this is fun and I like to break the rules as a DM. I mean, I am gonna have you roll plus weird because it's a little weird that a werewolf is gonna cuddle someone into submission,
especially because she is like pus on her and stuff. It's disgusting. I have to wash my fur forever.
Disgusting right now. It's caked in your fur.
I have a visual question.
Yes.
Are the brass knuckles still on the paw, or do they like get sucked into the hand?
I feel like. See, I like the idea of like there's like protrusions that just look like part of the paw, but aren't the brass knuckle. But also, we're not even gonna ask questions about the magical clothes because
no,
yeah, like I played a
As
werewolf
I
once.
said.
Canonically, he was always naked when he came back into human form.
I really like though that they were naked, just punched a motherfucker and then went back.
Yeah.
Because I excel at weird. That's a 13 for snuggles.
The roles that matter.
Wow.
Honestly, I'm not good at anything but
Wow.
snuggling and punching bitches.
Wow.
The same
You-
one too.
Much like a husky crawling into bed with you when there's clearly not enough room, you just like full on flop onto her, and you see her like, "Ugh!" you are a massive gray wolf at this point, and she tries to push you off of her. And as this is happening, you walk forward, Agent B, and you kind of like a little like spurt of the serum comes out of the end of the syringe, and you go, time for it. What do you do? You just go ahead.
Zero. I mean, the zeroth bedtime matter, but I figured I'd like mechanically do this under my medic feature.
Sure.
Um,
Absolutely. I think you would. Is it act under pressure?
it's I do a first aid. Roll plus cool.
Roll plus cool. Great.
What if I used a luck point?
What if you did? Automatic success.
Not bad.
So an automatic success on
That
the
was
medic.
2 ones.
Do what? Oh no! Good thing you used your little luck move there. As you zero bedside manner, just like completely couldn't give a fuck, frankly, about her. You lean down as you see Celine there, and everyone's kind of gathering around you, and you brace your arm on her chest, and you just stick her right in the neck. And you see her go slack. And as you do, you see that she is shrinking in size. The muscles are less tense, they're less massive, as she kind of shrinks back down to her normal form. You're seeing that the boils on her skin look as though they have burst, and there's just this kind of pink, raw, scarred skin underneath, and she's breathing heavily, and she seems very sedate here.
Looks like you weren't lying.
And you see Dr. Rutherford come up like, good God, it works! Oh yes!
Oh, you were lying.
No, the serum worked! The antidote worked! It worked!
But you said it already works. You said you knew
but
it
like,
worked.
I haven't seen it like this. Clearly, Gertrude's been
Congratulations.
overloading. Thank you. Yes, I would love to be published in a paper. That would be really, really great. Oh, God.
I believed in you from the moment you gave your story. This, if it helps.
I neither believed nor didn't believe in you.
Sarah, you've been granted an inspiration point from Madubro.
Thank you.
Just FYI.
Is she like back to normal, or is she like
she
kind
is.
of in a
And
half state?
She's back to normal. You see, by now she's kind of back to normal. She's breathing heavily. There's a very large wolf on her. The crowd is kind of like quiet, but muttering. That kind of like, what's going on?
She's not gonna kneel down, because if she kneels down, there's no telling if she's gonna get back up. She's just going to sort of like look over at her, Dr. Blackmire. Did you know it was you?
And you see her like coming to. What's going on? Where am I?
You're at the docks.
The dogs, where? Oh, God. I feel like I've got a massive weight on my chest.
You do.
do.
Oh,
Fucking rude.
If you'd like to get a weight off your chest, you can tell me what you were doing.
I don't know. One moment, I was at the manor house. And the next, Oh God, what's happened? And she takes the gloves, which are now like 4 sizes too big for her hands. She takes one off and she looks and goes, "What's going on? My skin."
It was your antidote, a concoction. The one that you put into yourself.
And you see her kind of look off and goes, "Oh. What did I do?"
You came to the docks. You hurt people.
Oh God. Oh God. And you see her reach up with one of her hands and she clutches at a locket at her neck.
Did you not know?
No, I had no idea. None whatsoever.
But you've done this before. Do you make a habit of blacking out?
I don't know. I truly I lost time. There were nights I just don't remember. The sun would go down. I don't remember. Times where I awoke and furniture in my office had been smashed. I remember times when I'd locked my door at night and I'd wake up the next day and my clothes were in tatters. I don't remember any of it. I truly don't. Oh God. Has it been me the whole time?
I'm afraid so.
Oh God. I'm so sorry. And you see Dr. Rutherford there kind of... Gertrude. He bends down to her. It's all right. Well, it's not all right. It's terrible, but you're all right, and now we know.
Can I be a nosy bitch and nudge the locket?
Yeah, absolutely, you can. You nudge the locket, you nudge her hand, and you being such a big wolf, it's very easily for you to nudge it. And as she kind of loosens her hand from the grip, you see that it is a round locket with these kind of rays sticking off of it. And upon closer examination, it looks to be a very small compass. And you recall, Mrs. Fletcher, upon seeing this, this appears to be a depiction of a locket found around the neck of a man in a photograph on the desk of Dr. Gertrude.
I can't remember who the man in the photograph was.
You never learned, actually.
Ah, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Whose is that?
What, this? She grasps at it. It was my father's.
The dock worker.
A dock worker. He got in a spot of terrible trouble. He was a gambling man, and he lost everything, and, well, his mates didn't take kindly to that. They beat him and left him for dead.
And so, in your blind rage, you come here and try to avenge him.
I suppose so. Oh, God. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
Don't be. We all do unsavory things sometimes.
Murder. Oh, they'll hang me for this.
I imagine your blood will now be too valuable to let you die. You'll be experimented upon, most likely.
Oh, please, let's not do any of that to the poor woman. I was going to ask who raised you, but it was... Well...
How much is clear?
I watched it from. I learned it from watching you.
Not me being the safest one in this circle. Oh my god. I'll just be tortured. It's fine. God.
Oh. You see that the kind of collection of ghosts that had held off the crowd are slackening a little bit as they're listening. You see the dock worker like turn around and goes, "Can I kill her now?"
I start growling at the dock worker.
You don't hear it because it is a ghost.
Oh.
Yes.
Say yes.
This is such a... It's only Mrs. Fletcher and Alexi that can feasibly hear.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Fletcher does hear that low rumble.
Alexi's really thinking about it.
Yeah, consumption's not worth this. But you know, the other option was experiment on animals instead of people. So really,
Chaotic.
I think nice guy era is over. He just with like a finality. He doesn't necessarily say anything out loud, because telekinesis is also just like a basic weird move.
You can just do it automatically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can tell the dock worker instead. I think she will be punishing herself, maybe to a degree that you find slower than death, or more than she deserves. I would say haunt her at the end of her natural life if you think she hasn't repented, and those words have air quotes on purpose. I understand.
Believe me, I'm going to haunt her terribly.
I hope it gives you peace.
What are the rest of you doing in this process?
Just trying to get this nasty shit out of their fur.
Just
like
in,
cat bath.
in the water, but like
Just like
it's the equivalent of like Victorian era Thames water, and you're like,
it's grosser. It's grosser.
it's just making it so much worse. Anyone else chiming in on anything as we wind down here?
Do mobile phones exist in the setting?
They do not.
Okay.
However, you were able to put in a call from the manor.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna try and find are payphones a thing?
The equivalent of a payphone.
Yeah.
There, you are able to get access to a phone.
Yeah, I'm gonna get access to a phone and report in.
And you hear on the other side, well,
We've subdued the culprit. They are, in a manner, currently constrained.
very well. Extract a specimen. We need her blood.
Okay. Just the blood?
Just the blood. Don't let on that the others have heard. Keep this secret, will you?
Keep what secret?
Exactly. Click. And with that, you all have granted Gertrude the opportunity to live another day, perhaps going about it by extracting her blood samples to do further research on this seemingly possibly innocent, possibly guilty, depends, woman. You all gather yourselves, you pull yourselves out of the river water, shake off a little bit, Cease is very close to Dance while this happens. Dance just gets soaked in river water. And you all make your way back to the Society House, having solved the case of the Blackmire Affair. And that has been Monster of the Week and Oops All Arabs TTRPG game fundraiser for Doctors Without Borders. Thank you all so much to everybody who donated. I'm going to hand it off to Word Fangirl to do final outros.
Yeah. All right. I want to give everybody time to promo their stuff. Make sure you all know who these fantastic human beings are. If one of my mods can do the thank you command, I don't really need an outro. You're on my channel already. Questionable choices again, but you're here. I'm just going to leave it open, and whoever wants to grab can grab, because I think we all have different orders on our screen. So promo your stuff. Tell people you all are amazing.
Okay, I'll go first since no one's going first. Hi, I was your Agent B for today. I kind of putter all over the internet. You can find me pretty much every social media that matters, plus X, at Destiny Trio INC. As far as TTRPG stuff that I normally do, you can find me every other Wednesday on Random Rhapsody, where I play a former Mean Girl idol in a Magi Knights Awakening game, where we're investigating this invading evil that's taken over a city and dealing with, teen angst and stuff. Or every second Sunday of the month, you can find me over on Singularity Roleplay, where I play a trans hacker girl who is a Rift of Loki in a game of City of Mist. We're in our fifth case, I believe now, and that's been a lot of fun. Otherwise, you can find me doing random stuff online. Follow my Twitter for more. If no one else, there you go.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Do a popcorn.
Initiative would be really helpful for this, I'm not gonna lie. I'm Sarah. I was Mrs. Fletcher for today. I'm sure a lot of you guys know me as Fake Gamer Girl as well. That's my Sims YouTube, but I also have a TRPG channel that I swear I'm actually still working on, even though I haven't uploaded in a year, which is Sarah Rosebud. And then you can find me on Twitter _Fake Gamer Girl, on Instagram Sarah _Rosebud_, because I don't know anything about consistency. So.
No, I know nothing about consistency. Thank you all for hitting the goal. Just throwing that out there.
Our goal. Thank you so much. It's $500.
Double our original goal, by the way.
That's double our original goal. So thank you. This was really wonderful. Let's popcorn it over to Netta.
Yeah, I had my mic unmuted, so of course I just I do a lot of things at the same time. I'm not really doing too much now. I like to do sensitivity reads for TTRPG and other literature. I do game design, not published yet. I should actually be on Daisies and Dragons, I think, within the next month for some more charity one-shots for Palestine. So it's a two-shot and a one-shot. Keep an eye out on that channel. You can just find me on Twitter, mostly just talking about politics, like left-leaning politics at trans_father. So I don't use other socials, and that's not really a great practice, but even though that site's not good, it is alive and functioning. You know how it is. So yeah, I just want to say thanks to the whole group. This was so much fun. Yeah, that's it for me. Moon.
Do it, Moon.
Yeah, hi. My name is kkhelil. I write for role-playing games, Vampire the Masquerade, Vampire the Requiem, Mummy, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Dune, all that. And you can find me on the Storyteller's Vault. We put books out there pretty regularly, and I think I just was in Alma Mater, the Hunter the Reckoning book as well. But the Storyteller's Vault's the place where you can mostly find our stuff, like the Black Hand playing the spot. And I'm on Twitter at kkhelil. And yeah, this was a lot of fun, and free Palestine.
Yeah, hell yeah. I was very lucky to meet Moon IRL at Gen Con and get my hands on some copies of some sweet, sweet Black Hand stuff. So I'm really excited to check that out. Hi, I'm Caito, aka Hell in a Handbasket. I have been your storyteller keeper for this evening. I am an actual play player and producer and GM over at Folk and Myth and Queen's Court Games. I am also a horror actor, so you can check out my published works, aka the movies I have been in. I've been in Revealer on Amazon Prime and Shudder, and I was in Black Mold on Tubi. If you want to check those out, you can find me all over the internet. On Twitter, I am at Only Handbasket. On Instagram, I am the Hell in a Handbasket. I always give people a caveat. It's spicy because I do burlesque. Dee-lee-dee. This has been our game. I'm very, very happy to have been a part of it. Thank you all so much for dedicating your time and your energy and your effort and your dollars to this cause. It's really important to make as many efforts as we can towards a free Palestine. A huge thank you to Folk and Myth and especially Bleakseason, our producer this evening. A huge thank you to Word for letting us host this on your channel. I'm looking forward to doing some more of these things. So thank you all for jumping in and playing this fun little gothic horror with me. That's all I have.
Every single one of you forgot that you're goddamn delights, and I am offended and upset.
Crying.
You are all fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this with me, especially because what a time. Scheduling life has been hectic for all of us, and thank you for making the time. Thank you for being up at obscene times because we're all in very different time zones.
Yes.
Thank you for the raid. We are actually going to raid out as well. You can do, please, well, I know my own raid stuff. It's fine. So we do kindness raids here because chaos and kindness are kind of my thing. So you can grab one of those bad boys. If you're a sub, you can grab the first one, or you can grab the second one. You can add anything specifically. If you want to add free Palestine, I say, fuck it, let's add it because it's true. Yep. All right. Let's get ready to raid. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your donations. You are lovely human beings, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.